Well, here we are on another loud day. Guess this will be install day. Yeah, we did get the top over here, and we did get it semi lined up, but there was no time for sealing, and there was no time for adjustments and bolting down last night. So to this afternoon, as hot as it is out, it's today. I love these little stalactites. You know that hole is filled. So we're gonna grab our miscellaneous tubes of sealant, which all work just as good because they're adhesives and sealants and for exterior, so that's fine. Which really up under the gunnels isn't going to even be exterior. Exterior really means that it's UV protected, so besides that it's just silicone. But I need to pull the top up just a couple inches. I don't know whether I'm going to do it from the inside or the outside, whatever's more convenient at the time. And I'm going to go ahead and seal the whole top around the edge, and then I'm going to set it back down and start getting some of these rivet holes lined up. If the rivet hole lines up, that means that's where it was supposed to be originally. So that's why I marked them all and made sure that they are the ones that actually get reused. Alright, here we are. It's about 8 o'clock. Who would think that it would take this long to do this stuff? I don't know. But the top is attached. Took some pulling and some stretching. It's a little flat at the moment, but it came right in shape. All attached back down to its original holes, so it's where it should be. Then of course I took down all the scaffolding, and of course my crane over here, which just sits right here. It looks like just one little black bar goes across. Nobody even knows it's there. Even my neighbor over here, who's lived there for as long as I have, has no clue that that's actually there. Asked me about it 2 days ago. It's funny. But one thing I am having a problem with though is my seats. They have left the surface. I can stand on them and it goes back down, so I'm thinking that there's something about when this edge right here actually was tabbed in, it's actually sloped up now. I think it was kind of peaked down, and yeah, that caused those to kind of swing out of shape. But I anticipated this, so what I was going to do eventually anyway is either put something in the backside and then screw through the face, because along the face here there's actually a piece of teak that goes along there, so it's not like you would see the screw holes or anything like that. And either stainless steel L bracket it right to the floor with some lag bolts, which probably should have been done anyway. So that is not a big deal compared to everything else that's been done. I mean, that's a minor difficulty that they deal with. But the deck is solid. I've walked all over it. Yeah, I probably should have filmed this before I put the cover on, but the deck's actually got a really nice round arc to it. Yeah, it seemed to have worked out quite well. Now if my grass will recover over there a little bit, we'll all be good. Nobody will know the difference. The sides, the gunnels are all solid as could be. Everything's been sealed. I got caulk oozing out everywhere, so that should be fine. Everything is through bolted also, including into the inner liner. So, and what I'm going to do with these bolts is I'm actually going to leave them hang like this for now, and later on I'm going to use them to put hangers on. I have had the most difficult time with hangers in these boats. It's amazing because they only have a little thin piece of wood on this side, and you know, you can put in a little tiny screw, but you put some weight on it, like, you know, the whole wiring harness and some cables and stuff like that, and you always end up breaking them out. Well, I'm going to put some stainless steel wiring hoops on them and basically, and then bolt them right to those, which are through bolted through the hull. So if they fall this time, they're actually bringing part of the hull with them. But we're calling for rain tomorrow. That cloud up there looks like it may actually have a little bit in it. And I've decided that since the top is on, we probably should put the top, the whole cover on. So that's what I'm doing now. And along with that, I've got a lot of stuff to clean up, because everything has a home, and the stuff that doesn't have a home needs to find a new home. But it needs to do that shortly, because I'm pretty much done for the night. Look all we got tomorrow. Look at what we got tomorrow. And the next day. And the next day. And let's not forget about the deck. It looks as bad. Plenty of work to do. Well, the start of another day. According to the weatherman, 86% chance of rain today. Yeah, we're pretty much wiped out. Okay, maybe not. I truly believe they don't have a clue what the hell they're talking about. I mean, it literally is supposed to be raining right now, according to radar, according to the weather report, according to everything. Blue skies and sunshine. I give up. But today I think I'm going to fill some holes, just because I don't like all the holes sitting in the deck like it is. I mean, a lot of them are filled, but there's a few of them that are not. If we do get this rain that they're talking about, at least the holes will be filled. So I think I'm going to go for that today. Yeah, we're into another phase of this boat, basically cosmetic fixing, because all the structure stuff has been done. Now we just got to make it look pretty. Yeah, make it look pretty. Well, looks like I'm going to start in the front, work my way back. Just look at all the holes that have to be filled. I mean, it's not even just like one. I mean, look, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's just, it gets worse and worse. But they all have to be ground out and filled like any other repair would be done on fiberglass. And that means filled and then covered with glass or mat or chop strand or something, and then reground, then filled with some rage body filler, reground, resanded, whatever you want to say, primer, resanded. And yeah, there's a lot of work to do on this deck alone. So you're back again. I don't know, I think the squirrel's going to be mad about this. Oh well, here we go. Up on our deck here, we got some holes to fill. A whole crap load of holes to fill. Too many holes to fill. But I'm getting out the glass now. Time to start filling them. Well, make me eat my words. We've got a rain delay going here, and a postponement yet. It's still quite early, so maybe this will pass. Hopefully. Well, here we are. They promised it would stop raining an hour and a half ago. It's still sprinkling off and on. I did get tempted enough to go ahead and fill some of these holes with some fiberglass. So now I got my fan blowing in through the transom over here, so it actually keeps the cover off the deck, just to stop the raindrops from hitting it. I didn't even intend on it. Like I said, they said it was done. Done. This don't look like it's done. And it's so damn humid out here right now that resin, even in my garage underneath of a overhead fan, has not kicked off in an hour. So I'm done. We're just gonna call it a day and we'll start again tomorrow. Well, here we are on another soggy day. Yes, it is supposedly clearing, but it hasn't yet. And everything is still wet. It's been about 36 hours now. Again, this is one of the drawbacks of working outside. You're at the mercy of Mother Nature, which again today we are. As I said, they're supposedly clearing. It's supposed to be like mostly cloudy now, and then later on this afternoon it's supposed to be partly sunny. It didn't work out yesterday that way, and who knows what's going to happen today. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this deck sanded out. I'm going to go ahead and use some of that Home Depot poly. That stuff likes to kick off fast, so let's use it to our advantage this time. But right now I got to make a dusty mess and get that cleaned up, and then it'll be time to do some stuff. Well, I'm waiting for some resin to kick off. I decided to do some counting. Whoa, I'm about to fall on my ass. And depending on where you stop, because it can continue on and on and on, 117 holes in this deck. 117. And like I said, if I keep on going down this side rail and down that side rail, add 10, add 10, and on and on. And then of course the rear deck itself probably has, what I count that other time, like 50 holes just for halfway across. Hey, this thing was more like a colander than a boat. All right, diligently working away now that the sun has come out and decided to help us out a little bit. Everything kicks off so much faster under the sun, and we have gotten to the level of 2 layers of Rage putty. Now we're going to go ahead and sand with 80 grit. We're going to do the whole deck. I'm sure they're missing a thing or two. I think I may have already discovered another screw hole, but it was a tiny one. But it was buried under the primer a little bit, and when I was going for something else, I think I may have uncovered it, which would require, from the start, grind out fiberglass, grind, blah, 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 blah. So we're holding off on that. And I want to see everything, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sand the whole deck and see where it gets us. I know it seems a little odd to sand at this point, but you know, it's so much wrong with it that, you know, with 117 holes or whatever it was, that I'm sure there's going to be things that are missed, and I can't even tell what's here and what's not here at this point. I mean, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm just going to start coating the whole deck with the Rage here, and that's just a big waste. So let's get a rough sanding done and find out where we're at. Yeah, I know it seems a little premature to be priming at this point, but this thing was just so screwed up, and there was just so many holes and so many patches. And there was 117 holes that I counted, along with spider cracks, dents, digs, bangs, and it was overwhelming. So we did what we did today, spent most of the day just filling and fiberglass, and then with some rage at the end here. And luckily enough, the weather cooperated a little bit towards the end of the day here. But as I said, I gave it a sanding. I did the whole deck, and now I just started circling things and circling things and circling things. Before I knew it, it was pretty much I wanted to circle the whole deck. So as I said, I just went ahead, I threw some primer on it. It'll sit out here in the sun tomorrow while I work on something else. And it's a little heavy in spots, but a lot of this is just little tiny little digs, little, you know, garbage, you know, stuff that I really don't feel like messing with at the moment. So primer will be Ed. I need to find me a nice decent high build primer. But that's it for the night. It's after 8. It's after 8:30. So but yeah, this turned out pretty damn well. I mean, it's got a really nice arc across this way like it's supposed to. It's got a really nice arc coming back this way towards the bow. There's no lumps, there's no flat spots. I mean, yeah, this deck really turned out well. But I'm gonna go turn in for the night. See ya. Welcome one, welcome all to another day. The alternative is not that great. So here we are. Last night we got our primer on our deck. Not even worried about that right now. I know there's a couple spots I saw when I was actually primering the deck. 1 or 2 over in here. They're just little tiny little chips and things you don't see with everything that was going on there. I mean, 117 holes. And yeah, it tends to get a little overwhelming, as I said yesterday. We got some dashboard to repair today, if we get that far. Right now, I'm kind of working on these deck parts here. I'd really like to get the holes filled in. Dashboard, of course, it sits, you know, like that, so if it does get wet, it tends to run off of it anyway. Which with the cover on, the cover isn't perfect, like we said before. It's our construction top, so it does leak a little bit. It doesn't fit that great because there's no windshield on it. And as you can see on my 19 over here, the covers are pretty much a big flat surface. So you really need all the parts in, like the windshield, and then as I said, you need bracing. It goes up from here to the motor box, and that will keep all the water out. But trust me, it's a challenge. I mean, I've have to customize every top that I ever have. I mean, these tops over here, these Prime Shield tops that I've did a review on a while back, they're really good. They come really close, but you know, I still got to add a back piece to it, you know, just to pull on that section, because if not, it'll sag in the middle and I'll end up with water sitting right here and right there. Kind of like it does here on this one. It's kind of like the Achilles heel of these guys. But in the process of doing this whole deck, I've come up with a new tool here. It's just a Rasp from Home Depot. Same ones I started using for porting and polishing intakes and stuff like that. But it tends to work very well with this Rasp is I can get this nice little channel right here to fill in with fiberglass, and I don't have to like fool with the whole thing, because that's what ends up, and it's just between the curve here, the curve on the gunnel, this actually sits like so a little bit. I mean, it is so easy to screw up, and then you look down it, and of course you've got probably one of the only sight lines on the whole boat that is from pretty much front to back. And you'll see it go, so yeah, anything I can do to make these little holes go away without actually doing an extreme amount of work in the process is beneficial. So this guy's going to come in real handy. And I need to grind the back deck off, and then we have to get out the fiberglass and start fixing some things. Lucky enough, I fixed this one from the back, and I fixed this mess from the back also. But that all has to come off the face now and get fixed on this side. But we're moving along. We are truly moving along. I mean, I'm looking at a few days and this thing could be ready for paint. Could be. Not saying it's going to be. But if we were asses and elbows, I guarantee you in 3 or 4 days we could actually have this thing under plastic. But we're not going to do that right now. Like I said, it's not supposed to rain today. See some blue skies. Looks really ugly in a lot of places. I mean, like that big black cloud up there. How about that one right there? Yeah, that one looks like it's gonna rain on us. But I got no option at this point. The cover's staying off no matter what. I mean, if it gets wet, it gets wet. It is what it is. But we're gonna get these holes filled today. So even if it does get wet from that point on, I mean, I don't even need a cover. Okay, we're just filling along here, and just to point to my thing about sunlight and this resin kicked off. Still gooey. It's just, there's no difference. There's 1 foot, little bit of shade. I mean, it's got spotty little sunlight. This is in direct sunlight. Hard as a rock. Soft as a marshmallow. Well, I was just thinking to myself, it could rain right now and it wouldn't hurt a darn thing. And it wasn't like 2 minutes later. I mean, it's been overcast all day, but it wasn't like 2 minutes later, it just started downpouring. And it was all just like drip, drip, splash. So, I don't know, I guess this may be pretty much an end of a day. It depends on how fast this passes, but it's already 6:30, almost 7 o'clock, so yeah, this may be a postponement and not a delay. This is just unbelievable for another day. Let me tell you, sunlight, come on. How many times are we going to see sunlight? And we're off to another day. Yes, 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 we are. And the sun is out. Like every day, I look up at the sky and I see nothing but dark clouds. But I also see a little bit of blue over here. And I know you all are tired of hearing about the weather, and I am too. I'll be honest with you, it's been a pain in the ass. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, whole days just wiped out, and it never rains more than 1/8 of an inch or 1/10 of an inch. And it's like, that's annoying to me. I mean, that nice steady rain all day long, get 1 inch of rain, that's fine, whatever. Grass needs it, trees need it, whatever. But, I mean, just to have all day long, everything just sit around and be wet. And just, I mean, not to be nasty about it, but, I mean, the reality is, I'm only out here for like, you know, a few hours a day. I mean, that's all I'm asking, man. Just those couple hours, those few hours. But we're going to take our opportunity here on a Sunday to get out here and get some things done. Finally, after, I don't know, 17 hours or whatever it is, my resin has kicked off and everything is now pretty close to being flat. I don't make Bondo boats. I mean, I use that term even though I use Rage now by Evercoat. But I don't make Bondo boats, even though they look like they've got Bondo everywhere. You know, they really do. That's just my feather. I mean, you can only do so much with fiberglass unless you're working inside of a mold. And the reality is that's why they put gel coat on them, because, you know, it gives them something to sand on. Well, in my case, it's going to be Bondo and primer, because, you know, we're backyarders and that's what we do. So today, I'm going to start off, we're going to grind off this deck. Yes, grind. I don't play around with the cabossel layer, and there's no reason to. You know, I'm pretty good with my grinder. I've been using it for years. And then I'm going to go ahead and start getting my trim piece that goes across here, which holds the motor box on, and it has to go up the back of the seats. They all have to be fiberglassed on, and of course we have a couple patches over here from the old bilge pump exit and a couple of the fuel vents up there. Like I said, all that stuff's coming right off. We're not even bothering with that. That's going right over here on the back of the transom. As I said, the back of the transom is going to be very busy anyway, so why bother cluttering up the rest of the boat with the other stuff when we can just put it on the transom. But it's time to get something done. And like I said, they're not calling for rain, but man, it's looking like rain. Damn. Alright, finally some finished pieces are going in. Yeah, my half round goes up the back. This is where the motor box, of course, locks in. So, but all that has to be put on, and which matches the seats down there. Even though they're off the floor, they will go back down eventually, trust me, one way or another. Now I've got them set up with some 5-minute epoxy, and once they set off, I'm gonna go ahead and fiberglass them in, which will be the last of it, be honest, of the project kind of fiberglass. There's 2 little spots over here. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of those. And that'll be the end of the fiberglassing. I mean, there's still going to be some here and there, and there will be one last major project, building the motor box cover, which I've already put an order in for that. So we'll see how that works out here. I'm waiting for like really cool weather on a regular basis, so I don't have plenty of time to try to build this thing, because I've never done a mold and popped one out of a mold before. So I mean, the closest thing I've come to that was a little extension that sticks off the back of the rudder of the race boat. Took me about, I don't know, 4 months. I did get a little sidetracked on a house, but that was something else entirely. But yeah, we're letting this kick off, and then we're going to be fiberglassing that up, and then it'll be time to start rage everything. Well, let's see if the old fable comes true. Red skies at night, sailor's delight. All right. Again, another 8:30 night. Whew, I'm tired. And of course, this is going to be a whole lot of this, of just work. And there's not going to be any stringers installed. There's not going to be any transoms or decks pulled off or anything of that nature. It's just going to be straight up sanding and body filling, and sanding and more body filling, and more sanding and more body filling. So today's adventure included actually putting in the trim for the motor box to hook on to. It's a little rough right now, but it's getting there. Starting to look like it actually grew out of there instead of something I added from Home Depot. We've done a lot of work to the back deck. It's got a couple little high and low spots right in here. This is our first major fill / sanding. And you gotta remember, again, it was over 100 holes in this transom deck alone. And as I said, we're not even talking about up the sides here. I mean, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So, I mean, and that's up each side. And then, of course, we have our 117 is what I counted. But as I said, I think I've missed a few, because I was just kind of generalizing. It could be as high as 170 for all I know. But, yeah, I mean, we're moving along. It's just that it's going to be repetitive and repetitive and repetitive. And more sanding, more this, more that. But soon this thing will be ready for paint. There's only one last thing that I'm thinking of before we can actually paint it, and that's the actual windshield itself. I want to get fitted and actually in place before I go to attempt to paint this thing at all. But tomorrow, more of the same. See ya. Well, let's see how this camera works at night. Evil boat. I don't know how evil it is, though. It's had like 90 shamrocks stuck to it for some reason. I mean, I don't have that many shamrocks even in my yard. Well, the start of an... Well. Today sucks. I'm going to start using a little bit of that Home Depot poly to... let's do this again. I'm going to go ahead and use some of that. What do you want? Yeah, you're supposed to be afraid of humans. Total miss. That'll go on a blooper reel. Oh Christ, what the hell is that? Let's do that again. Let me clear my throat.